what's happening now with this moving abroad and the art business, it seems like it's the phoenix coming out of the ashes.
Testing. So today we're going to be doing something slightly different to your kind of normal podcast, I suppose, where I kind of quiz the business owner or entrepreneur or whatever. Our guest today is Steve Dann of Magpie Art, and we're going to be looking at his kind of journey and how he's kind of managed that and his kind of trials and tribulations with it, and really kind of what he's up to and what his kind of next stages in his life, because he's gone through some massive changes. So that'll be really, really interesting, I hope, for anybody that's interested in what Steve does, but also how to kind of manage and someone else's kind of view of a journey where they've gone from maybe not having so much to being presented with a massive opportunity within a very short period of time. So I really hope that you enjoy this. If you do, comment below, add like a little message for Steve or whatever, give him some love. And don't forget to subscribe and like to the channel. You can find us on Instagram, all that kind of stuff as well, on normal socials. So with that, we'll get stuck into the interview today with Steve Dann. So as per the intro, we've got Steve Dann here today from Magpie Art. We're going to have a little bit of a different podcast today. We're going to have a chat about Steve's journey, because Magpie Art isn't necessarily what you've always done and how we've met and spent time together and so on. So just give us a little bit of a background to yourself, Steve, like maybe like that kind of like 10-year-old Steve all the way up to kind of maybe really where Magpie's kind of done. And I know it's been kind of floating around in the background, but
So I from an early childhood, cut a long story short, adopted, had a lovely family. There was a breakup, abusive dad. All of my creativity as a kid was like kind of taken out of you, and then you in the school system your creativity gets squashed, doesn't it? You know, you get indoctrinated rather than taught and encouraged. Joined the army, trying to find out what I wanted to do. I mean, I'm 42 next month, and I've only just found out what I want to do. All the various types of jobs. We met because I had a carpet cleaning company. That was what I had for about 12 years. And that's kind of what I thought what my calling was, and that's what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. And then going through a bit of a mental health journey and seeing therapists and that, and they were like, find something that you can do, find something that inspires you or that's a bit of a release. And I kind of found myself going back to art. And this has only been in the last couple of years, as you know. I started to do it as a hobby. People were seeing it, asking to buy it, and then galleries approaching me, getting into very good galleries who have promoted me and got me out there. And now the next thing is build a big business up out of it in a relatively short space of time, and then relocating to the Caribbean, where I've got a lot of contacts and I've got investors out there who want to push us to the next level. So it's in a short space of time, it's just gone bang. It's gone.
Yeah. So with the just rewinding a little bit, I suppose, just for the audience, so with the kind of mental health journey, was that kind of COVID related, or was that kind of before that, or
no,
you just kind of?
I think I had that from reading up about it, and the more you talk to psychiatrists and therapists and that, kind of anyone who's adopted, whether they even realise they're adopted or not, they have deep-seated issues like attachment issues, anxiety, depression, and it all kind of fits in together. When you look at it, it's kind of a trend across anyone who kind of adopted. Also, the end of last year, I was diagnosed with ADHD, which really makes a lot. I mean, you know me. Yeah, it's not a surprise, is it?
It's like when your kid comes out gay and you go,
yeah, we knew the whole time. Yeah. So there was that part of it as well, which that all makes sense to me. What are we talking about? ADHD.
So you're talking about your ADHD and the sort of diagnostics of that.
So
mental health.
Yeah, so with the mental health of it, it come from, I think, a little bit of that natural thing that you'll get from being adopted. Also the abuse that I kind of had in the this kind of stepfather who was there, who was, you know, he just said, this isn't your real mum. This is, you know, just horrible for no reason. Kind of really knocks you down. And then in the military too. I mean, there's a hell of a lot that...
You did the military as well?
Yeah, so being in the army, well, I was in Iraq, and even just through the basic training that you'll get, where they'll break you down, and I excelled it. I was best recruit, and I loved my time in there, but I was just basically given 2 weeks you're out, and that's it. And I didn't have any help, and I didn't realise how bad my mental health was. In the army, I was actually, the last period, I wasn't allowed to touch weapons because my mental health was so bad, and I was just allowed to leave. And it took a good 10 years after that to actually realise there was something there, something that needs to be helped. Luckily, my wife, she was like my rock the whole way through it, and she really, really made sure that I looked after myself. She was on at me for years, and I was like, "Shut up! I don't need anything. I'm all right." So everyone else. Then when I realised, I mean, what's happening now with this moving abroad and the art business, it seems like it's the phoenix coming out of the ashes.
Yeah.
You know, it all burnt down, and it was at the lowest point.
It's quite hard as a bloke, I find, like, to kind of be at one with your emotions and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was, you know, in a rugby club, playing rugby all my life, like all my mates, ex-army mates, it was just people that you didn't really talk to about that kind of thing. So you put up this mask. With ADHD, you put up a mask, and autism, people put up masks to try and fit in and try and be someone else. Since I've come through this journey, I've really found who I am. Yeah, and I'm happy with who I am. And if people say something like, "You don't have to be around me, mate. I don't have to be around you," you know. I've got a different path here, and I know what I want to do now. And it's a shame it's taken like 40 odd years to get to that stage. But I think that happens with a lot of people. You know, you're kind of, society wants you to be a certain way, and you're told you have to be a certain way, so you don't be who you want to be. Yeah.
Do you think that with the ADHD stuff, and I was talking to a guest the other day about spectrum, on the spectrum or whatever, it's bandied around quite a lot nowadays, isn't it? Do you think, I mean, it feels a little bit like occasionally it becomes like mainstream, like everyone's on the spectrum now.
Well, I think everyone is on the spectrum.
Yeah.
I think everybody is. You're definitely on there. You're on there for a bit.
I know I'm on there somewhere.
You're on there somewhere.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like everybody seems to be on the spectrum.
I think everyone, I mean, I don't think you'll find someone who you go, cool, they're totally switched on and they've got no issues whatsoever, and they haven't got this, and they haven't got these little quirks, and they haven't got these little bits about them. So everyone has, whether it's like they're overly aggressive, or they're overly friendly, or they're people pleasers. That's all a mental health thing that they've either learned or picked up, or something which is in them. So I think everyone's kind of got it, and that's where you kind of have to be sympathetic to people and have some humility that everyone's got a journey.
Yeah.
You know, everyone is going through something today. Like this morning, they've all got their own little story. And when you're like, oh, I want to tell someone that I woke up in a bad mood, well, someone else has done that. Everyone's done that.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's got this journey and not feeling quite right. And that affects your mental health. And a lot of it is, there's so many people I knew from school who have got ADHD because they couldn't learn. The way that you're taught is not by reading and copying, it's by doing and finding out for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's everywhere, it's just in different levels.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I just wonder, it seems quite a sort of hot topic at the moment and vogue, doesn't it? But so tell me about the kind of journey, I suppose. So, like, obviously you've done quite a lot in your I know you're 40, but relatively short life. Hopefully you live to 100. So obviously you left the army, you had the mental health stuff, and then you started up it's Guardswell Cleaning.
I
was the car.
And a couple of jobs before that. I worked for BT. I was a network engineer. I mean, that's another thing with ADHD. You'll find that they have a lot of jobs, a lot of different jobs in a short space of time. I did that. I worked in schools, children with learning difficulties, and then I started the company, which was like a bit of a security company first of all, like with CCTV and that, and we had the cleaning company. And we also had a telecoms company, which I set up. So there was a bit of everything that I just kind of took what made the kind of best, easiest living. It was just why we had the children when they were young. I wanted to spend as much time with them as possible. So we chose a job that we only worked during the school periods. So they pretty much had us undiluted for the last 12 years. Yeah.
So how did you go, I suppose, interesting, how did you go into the art then from there? Like, obviously that's a trigger, I guess. The art, was it always an underlying thing you did like since school, or was it a kind of, I got to 30 and decided that you wanted to expand on that? Or?
I loved it, but you're told, get a proper job. You can't make a living out of that. There's a lot of kids out there who are so creative and they got an incredible potential, but things like school and parents and peers and older brothers and sisters tell them what they think they should be doing because that's what they were told. Most of these people hate their life and they hate their jobs. So you don't take advice from people who haven't got the life that you dream of. A lot of people do take advice from people like, I don't want your life. I think it's terrible. But they will still follow and they'll still do what that is. It's that cycle, a bit like abuse in the home. You've got to break that cycle and you've got to go your own way and find what you want to do.
So how did the art come about then? Like in your kind of adult, like when you decide obviously it's a release, I guess.
So
and then you've turned that into what it is now, which we'll come on to later.
It started off just being on the sofa. I think it was about lockdown when my daughters had these apps. They were drawing apps and one called Ibis Paint. And they put it on my tablet. Well, first of all, I was like, get this crap off here, it's taking up my memory. And then I was like, let's have a look at it. I was like, Dad, do this and you can do layers. And I was like, oh, that's really good. And I just sit there for hours just doodling. And then I was like, well, I want to put that on canvas because I really like that. And then I would do that. And I would do that for, it's probably going on about 6 months. I would just repaint over the paintings that I'd do, just reuse the canvases. And then one day someone saw me, she went, can you do me a commission? I was like, wow, all right, no problems. So I did this commission and she came around and had a look at it and she went, how much do you want for it? I went, well, how much do you want to pay? She went, 700-800 quid. And I was like, I was going to think 150, 200 maximum.
Bearing in mind at this moment, 700-800 quid to you is like what, half a week's work? Profit wise, obviously. I know.
Oh god, no, that would probably be like a week's, at least a week's. Then
carpet.
Pot cleaning or drafting. I was like, I was going to say like 200. She went, okay, I'll give you 5. I went, yeah, brilliant. So then I started to do commissions for £500. They got picked up by people wanted to pay more. Then galleries, a very good gallery, Cloud Gallery, which is, they got a multi-chain. They got in touch with me and that started off quite slow. I was panicking there with them a bit, but now we're selling probably 1 or 2 a week out of those.
So Cloud Gallery is like a sort of franchise of arts galleries that would...
Yeah, well, they're not franchise. It's the same people that own them all. They got 4 galleries. I think they're the largest independent gallery in the south. They got one in Brighton, Horsham, Chichester and Worthing. So they own all 4 of those, and then they just put my artwork, share it across there. But they've got a big stock of buyers who they'll, whenever I give them my new art, they'll push it through and the load sell instantly on the first day. So they've been a great help to us.
So your art then is displayed in their venues, and presumably do they then assist you with that, like pricing to it? Because obviously, in your mind, like it's kind of it's quite a difficult transition for people realizing that suddenly something that you think's worth a couple hundred quid might be worth a couple of £1,000, for instance. I'm assuming that's kind of like
it started off like that,
if you like.
Yeah, it started off that way. I'd give them artwork and they'd be like, how much do you want for this? I'm like, whatever you can sell it for. And they were 800 quid. I'm like, whoa, yeah, right. There's a commission on it, obviously, because they're doing the donkey work. But they sell a lot higher turnover than I can ever do anyway. They help the pricing. They'll come up with ideas, but then they work with us as well. The prices are rapidly increasing because out in Grand Cayman and out in the Caribbean, my stuff sells for more than double it is here. So we've got to try and balance it. But when I move, they're telling all their customers now, like, get in quick because the prices are going to go up. And each time we put the prices up, it hasn't slowed down the buying. So
it's a supply and demand thing, though, isn't it? If you get popular, then people are going to want to pay more.
That's it.
Short supply.
So that's the whole thing of I try and do like the brand awareness and being in people's faces. The more people see it, the more they think, oh, I know who that is. We've got to buy some of that. And it just gets out and becomes commonplace.
Where do you get your inspiration from? Because obviously, I don't want to say that they're sort of Banksy-esque, but I'm not a big art. I don't know all the different categories, but I guess it's in that kind of category of art, like street art or something.
Yeah, street pop art, I call it. Yeah.
And so where does the inspiration come from some of your pieces? I mean, we'll probably overlay some of them if you could send us some links to the rest of it so people can have a look.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my inspiration foremost is music. Listening to music and then just floating away. Like with my kind of creative mind, like and visionary mind that there's always a lot of noises and a lot of visions that I'm seeing anyway, which is like the ADHD thing. Your mind's overcrowded, you've just got a lot in there. Music can kind of channel me. Sometimes I'll be into some music, listen to the lyrics, and images will pop into me and I go, Christ, that's just, yes, brilliant. So I use a lot of song lyrics, a lot of quotes as well. I'll look for inspirational quotes and that will give me images and that will give me ideas. But I mean, as for artists who inspire me, like Banksy, obviously, but I mean, only recently, like Black the Rat, way before him. I'm a fan of Mr. Brainwash as well. I found him after I'd started and I really took to him because I was like, our styles can be so similar at times.
Yeah.
That I kind of looked at him and I used him as like, this is where I can be. And now I'm fast approaching his price range already. So I'm like, I need to look at somewhere else. Or actually, I'll just go, now I make my own stuff and I have people looking at me, trying to follow what I'm doing, try and be the icon.
Yeah, definitely, no. So I suppose moving on from that, so you've gone through this like massive acceleration from like £200 feeling like that's what it was worth to now, I don't know, in the thousands. Some of them. So what's the kind of next step, or how, because you're moving to the Cayman Islands, so like how do we go from like it's in the local art galleries to like suddenly now it's like
so the business
accelerating like it's a coronavirus spreading around.
That is what it feels like. It feels like we're hitting it and we're just taking over. Wherever we kind of go, it picks up momentum, which is really encouraging. I mean, the guys who I'm going out to Cayman with, who I'm in business with, I've known them a long time. They're really, really good lads from the UK. They're moving out there. One of them lives out there. The other one's moving out there. They've already bought artwork of me in the past. And they've been big fans. And they've kind of said, look, you want to move here. We're out here. We do business. We do investments. We can see you've got an incredible potential here. No, look, we'll just help you out. We're your mates. You're not going to be owing us anything. We're going to be looking at helping you and making a bit of money. So the idea that is we go out there. I've already got a studio out there that they've set up for us. I've got 2 studios out there. They want to get a gallery open and then we're going to brand that. And then we're going to do lots of stuff in the community, lots of art shows. We've got Miami Art Show. We've got ones up in New York we want to do. We've got Cayman Art Week, which we do. And it's pretty much just going to be getting out there, getting into their network, which is high-end sports stars. They've got sports management companies. Also big investors, like ridiculously big investors, like minimum £1 billion a time investment, like serious people who love art, who just want to buy stuff. And it's going to be getting into their networks, getting with the right people, influential people, and then just snowballing that. And it's kind of out in Cayman, there's no class system, and all of the people who are successful and have power want to help everybody else. And it's a really weird society to get your head around, where people don't look down on people who are poorer. You've got billionaires who are drinking with poor people, but they'll help them if they can. And it's a great community out there. And that's kind of what I've seen so far. A lot of my business out there have been people going, oh, no, you are, come on, let's go and do some stuff. And you can get commission off you and you can do this mural for me. And it just builds massively.
So, question then from a business point of view, how do you protect yourself then? Because don't take this the wrong way, obviously your business acumen is maybe not your first calling in life. And how do you protect yourself from sort of, I suppose, being taken for a ride or abused or whatever in this kind of system. I guess that's probably what a lot of people might be thinking. Like, it's all well, all this stuff like the investment and the rest of it, but you hear time and time again the actual artist behind it is not really receiving much of it in the end of it, and it was all kind of I want to say smoke and mirrors, but that kind of stuff. So what where do you go with that, I suppose, would be a question.
I've been fortunate actually that I'm in the driving seat with it all. I come up with the contracts, I come up with, even the investment, these guys have just gone, if after 6 months you're making a hell of a lot of money and we're making money off of you, you don't need our investment, we can just stop it. So it's all in the contracts that I can put a stop to it or restart it whenever I need to. Good trademarks as well, but it's mainly down to I have all of the call. They went, how much percentage do you want to give us on your profit? And I said more, and they went, that's too much. And they knocked me down. They went, we don't want that much off of you. We want you to make it. That's why they're originally doing it. So luckily they're good friends from good 10, nearly 11 years now. Who I can rely on when they were living over here, and I've relied on them now. And I feel I'm quite fortunate that they're not after that pound of flesh.
And who drew the contract up? Is that you, or is that
between both of us, and then we've got our own lawyers. So they've got one in the firm, who my wife is their PA, the CEO and the president. They know each other well anyway. So she's their PA. She's involved in that side of it, and their lawyer. And then I've also got my own lawyer as well. But we all kind of work together, and we don't sign anything until it's all been agreed and until we're all happy. But to be fair, every time I come up with something, they've only argued it if they think it's not fair on me. They've gone, hey, you need more than that, or no, let's do it a bit shorter because you might change your mind. So they've been looking after us. To me, what I'm making is peanuts for what they're doing anyway. They went, honestly, it's just to help you get out here and make it really.
So what's the next step for it then? So you've got the contracts in place, you're going out to the Cayman Islands, obviously you're going to do the kind of, the New York thing and try and sort of make it big. Is that's the next sort of thing to then maybe not need the investments, or what?
Definitely.
Kind of
the next
plan,
thing,
I suppose, over the next year or so.
So Silky, who's the CEO, he says, look, he goes, we're in this for years together, whether we're investing and we're just helping you or whether we're just there shadowing you. So we're there for good. I think the next step of the plan is to just hit all these big places as hard and as fast as we can, really aggressively, get artwork in there, get the prices to where we want them, and make it a need rather than a want. People are I need one of those now. Everyone's got one of these. I think that's what it's going to be. That they've got a sports management company, so when they sign big players, it's going to be, I do a commission and then they put it on their social. And then before you know, you're around with big.
And I guess it's, if you change it to a kind of, I need one of those, and there's like a want factor, obviously that's when the price often escalates. But obviously you can saturate the market. So in a way, it's a bit like you have Apple phones, for instance, and then everyone's got the latest one, but nobody buys the one with the big memory in it or the one that's gold plated or whatever, but they probably want that. So that's like, do you have like that kind of structure where like maybe the sort of, in order to get the brand out there, you're going to have like a kind of 2-tiered structure, like so that people that are particularly wealthy are going to buy one that is, it's not like the gold iPhone, and then they don't want to have the same one.
We've obviously got like limited prints, which are cheaper as well, so people can just buy one of those and have them up around the place. But I'd say there's going to be a range of stuff that you can just buy, and then there's going to be stuff for the people with the serious money. It's like, right, I want a piece to fit that. Okay, I can come around to your property, like some of these properties are, 25, 30 million quid. It's like, I've got a big wall I need to fill in there. I can't do something bespoke in there. That will be 20 grand, 30 grand. And then they will be them sort of pieces there.
Which I think is nuts in the sense of like, going from that £200 to like the 30 grand for one, for one piece on the wall. So I suppose question is like, how have you dealt with that journey, if you like, yourself? Like, as in that must be quite, it would be pretty mad for most people to be earning like a couple £100 a day to earning 30 grand.
My target was £200 a day.
Yeah.
And now I like I said to you earlier, with the whole move, it's so daunting and I'm just mind-numbing. I'm just taking each day as it comes. So I'm not trying to get too excited about it. If anything big does come up, I don't get too excited until it happens.
Yeah.
Because things change and that. And I'm just trying to stay grounded with it and just keep my head in the game and keep concentrating and keep my focus and keep my, what's it called?
Your attention.
Yeah, to keep myself in it because it's mental anyway. My mind's all over the place. Just trying to keep myself grounded with it because it can be.
But really I think that kind of like the mind all over the place, like assists you with the artistic skill, isn't it?
Do you know what, mate? Now, since I've sold the company and I can now is different because we're moving. But when I can just focus on artwork, it's incredible because I've got no other worries. I said to the wife the other day, I mean, if I could just live in a little studio loft with just a mattress on the floor, and I'll just get up in the morning, I wouldn't wash, I'll just do art, and then go back to bed, and I could do that for 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. Just think of nothing, not even washing. Just do that, and then go back to a normal life for a bit. That is what I need, really, because as soon as I get up and I've got to brush my teeth, I start thinking of something else I've got to do, and then you get that ADHD mind. Before I know it, I'm in my pants, doing the washing up, changing the oil on the car. Well, I haven't done any art yet. Yeah. So I need, once I get out there and we got that flow that's just supporting me to do art, it should be something else. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to interrupt quickly here. I hope you're really enjoying the podcast guest today, but did you know that you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, various other sites like that, and you can also listen to us on all major streaming services as well. You may already be listening through one of those things, but look at the other avenues that you can do us. You can see us in physical form if you're listening in audio, or if you want to just listen as you're driving along in the car, you can go to things like Spotify or Apple Podcast and listen to us there. So please don't forget to check those out. Please always like and subscribe to all the channels, share them about and the rest of it, and that will help grow the audience. And then eventually we'll have a massive amount of people that are always really going to get involved, and it's a nice big entrepreneurial hub. So if you want to contribute to that, head on over to those other channels, press the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Right, we'll get back to our guest now. So I suppose, this is a massive journey for you, like in terms of culturally as well. So, and you're moving your whole family out there, but I think some are staying here, but primarily you're kind of moving out there and doing a bit.
We could have all gone. My daughter's 16. She's got a long-term boyfriend. She's starting college. At 16, that's when I started to get into rugby and I had my own life. So it was like, give her a choice. So we gave her the choice and she said, look, I want to stay here. But she's coming out 3 weeks after we get there with her boyfriend. And then my wife's Christmas due's in New York, so we're going to fly her to New York. So we're going to see each other very regularly anyway. So she's going to have a fantastic life of it. The rest of us, we're all going out there. It's a massive upheaval and it's a big step, but you never discover anything if you just stay where you are, do you?
Yeah,
definitely. Sure.
So what? So you're going to move out there. You're going to flip between the kind of UK and the Cayman Islands and the rest of it. So what's kind of like next, I suppose, really? So say the investors, eventually you outgrow them and the rest of it. What's kind of, is it like a long-term plan?
I mean, there's a gallery
I hope that you would get to.
Yeah, there's already a gallery out there that represent me, and we're really good friends now. He's Honduran, and he's been really good support for me. He wants to link up, so when I've got my own gallery open, we want to pass artwork between each other. Yeah. He's got a good name on the islands. He's already promoted me now. He wants to do stuff together. We already doing events together. So if I do outgrow the investors, the plan is I'll already be big enough and I can stand on my own 2 feet doing that. Maybe open another gallery, maybe open one in Miami. It's only an hour's flight away from us.
Yeah.
So the plan is to get out there. I mean, if I need that support, they will get me the investment for it. They've said, we can help you. I've got friends out there now who've already bought artworks. They're like, we will help you. I mean, that's what we do out here. If someone's struggling or someone needs help, we will invest and help them because we like people to do well.
Yeah. And I suppose a question for me really, as we're primarily like a business show, is what kind of business lessons have you learned along the way, really? Because you've gone from earning like £200 a day to spending, I mean, we mentioned in the break, almost spending more than you would have previously earned in a year in like a few weeks, like prepping for this journey. So that's quite a big cultural change in the monetary side of things, as much as it is going out there. What sort of lessons, how's that changed you? Lessons that you've learned from it?
It hasn't really changed me yet, because I've always been careful with money. I've always, been wary about overspending and getting too carried away. It's really my investors now that are like, stop panicking, stop worrying. We've got your back. If you need anything, ask us. It's kind of made me look at it of get into business with the right people. Because you can have a lot of people who blow their own trumpet, and then you're like, I don't want your life. Yeah. You haven't really made it. You're still living the next road to me, And I want to, I would say it's listening to the right people and taking the right advice. But then also, there's advice you'll get from these really successful people you won't want to follow either. You've got to, like, taking your bullshit filters off your eyes, really. Yeah. And you can have a look. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And also, stay true to what you want to do. Generally, your instincts are right, I feel. Whether you've got a good business mind or not, you kind of know a gut feeling of, I don't really want to go that route, or I think this is going to work well because this is what I've got the passion in. I think if you follow what you've got the passion for, it can't really fail. Yeah. If you can make anything work, really. I mean, you know that from you've had successes. If you put your mind to it and you try hard enough, most things that you put enough effort in are going to work.
Yeah. What do you do with the money then? Are you investing it? I mean, as in, I suppose the underlying question would be like, if it all turned off tomorrow, let's say everyone fell out of love with art, or I don't know, AI come along and completely change the way we act in society. Where does that kind of leave you? Are you like building up a nest egg? Are you investing it? Or
so there'll be, I mean, it's early days yet, but then most of my stuff that I do, I'm fortunate enough that my investors own investment companies. Yeah. And I've already spoken to them about, like, if we get to the stage where I've got money accumulating, and they're like, we'll put it in. Yeah. We'll put the investment, just put it through the company, and we can look after it like a pension for you. It's kind of what they do with the sports stars they got. It's a sports management company, but they take a lot of their sale costs, rather than going to the agent, they reinvest it for them as a pension for when they retire. I mean, that's the kind of thing I want to do as well. Yeah. I mean, there's that, but we've also got, if we go out and it doesn't work, we keep in the house here. I can come back. My art's already selling well here. We can come back to what we've already got, which isn't that bad anyway. Yeah. So to fall back on, we've got a nice life that wouldn't be too bad. Yeah.
Okay. So presumably you're kind of still working on your kind of social presence and the rest of it, so that you can then come back to that.
Yeah, it's still branded. I'm still going to be supplying artwork for the galleries here. They'll keep my name alive over here. And they do. I've just got back from Goodwood with them. They do Goodwood every year, and Salon Privy, which is a really high-end card show. And they've got a big reach, worldwide as well. So it's good to keep in with those guys. They're real good guys. I've told them I'll always stay loyal. They gave them the first break. Yeah. Just keeping in with people who you can trust and that are good for you. Yeah. And that's so it's your success for life, isn't it, really? Yeah. Don't compromise yourself.
No, exactly. I think you need to always have that kind of in the back of the mind that it could be turned off tomorrow.
Definitely.
Have those investments and make sure that you've got that money to fall back on. It's very good to have the property in the UK for you to come back to. If it doesn't, if things fall out of love, there could be a financial crash. Investors come and go. There's lots of different things that are out of your control that could affect this. But so I think, as you grow and you've got more money, it's always good to just take that financial advice from people and make sure that they're doing that, especially as it's not, no offense, but it's not your kind of forte, if you like. The management of money, it's quite a difficult thing, and most people shy away from it. And to be honest, they're kind of, not their forte. Financial literacy is not something we teach in schools. Yeah.
I've always been, like I say, cautious with money. Yeah. And I'll try and buy assets and stuff that isn't going to depreciate. And that's even if it's just down to, I'll buy some artwork. I bought someone else's artwork a couple of years ago. And I mean, that's gone up 30% each year. Yeah. It's just there, so I've always got something that I can, I'm not going to just piss it all up the wall.
Okay.
I might start off like that.
Yeah. But as long as you've got that to fall back on, I think that's always your go-to thing. So this journey's been pretty wild. How's that affected you? Obviously, you got your ADHD battles, and then your mental health and stuff like that. I know it's cool, and everyone will go, well, it's lovely living in the Cayman Islands, but in my kind of synopsis of things of life, sometimes even that can be quite stressful and the rest of it. How have you dealt with those kind of hurdles?
So
it's quite, it's quite a big change, isn't it?
So for me, every time I've been to Cayman, it feels like I've got home. And every time I leave, I miss it. Even when my family don't come with me, I'm like, the only thing missing is my family. And I was talking to a therapist, I went, whenever I'm out there, I don't take my medication. He went, you won't need it. He goes, people with ADHD, sun, sea, fresh air, it's like a drug for you. It does for anyone anyway.
Yeah.
He went, but it really heightens with people with ADHD. And I went, I'm way calmer out there. But what I said is, whenever I get back, she's like, I can tell you've been there because you don't get the road rage, you don't get stressed, you're chilled. Like, I'm telling her to calm down a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And that's just to do with that island life. It's very slow life. I find that it's not really an ADHD that's a problem, it's this country. And you'll come back and people are rude and people are grumpy, and on the roads it's manic.
Yeah.
I mean, over there, everything's so late.
Life, isn't it?
It's city life, yeah. And then we went to London the other week for our medicals to move. And I was like, I still like London. And now I can't think of anything worse. Yeah. It's like polluted, it's dirty, it's overrun. And I was like, I don't want to be somewhere like this. Yeah. I want to be in that slow island life. And I think people aren't under the cosh of tax. That is such a ball and chain and such a controlling mechanism. People don't realise until you get out of that system, they don't realise what control it has on you and what a hold it has on your life. Because everything you earn, 50% of what you earn pretty much, you're giving straight back to someone, and they're using it for what they want. And then they make you think that the poorest people in society have all the money.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's the opposite end of it, you know. But it's easy, and then that's how you get the hate, and that's how you get all the stuff and the problems come in, and it comes from really. That's the starting point of it. The tax, they're taking your money and saying it's someone else getting it all, and it's a lot of the problems come from something like that.
What's the process then that you go through to move out there? Obviously, I know your journey's been different to somebody else, but let's say they're not an artist, and let's say they've just made their money in investment banking in Barclays or somewhere like that, other banks available, and they've got a few million quid or whatever. I don't know.
Just say you're out there, Matt. I'll tell you how to do it. No, it's
sounds wonderful.
The process.
Do I have to bring a family?
You don't have to.
No.
I mean, the process with it, you got to have a job out there. So you've got to have a work permit, you've got to have something. You can't just move out there unless you've got a certain amount of wealth. Or you buy a property over a certain value. Then you can. So, I mean, certain wealths, you can move there. But generally, you need to have business out there. I've started my own business, so I'm in the process of starting my own corporation. With that, I've got friends who they've agreed to at least you've got to have a Caymanian partner. So I've got a Caymanian partner, a friend of mine, and they said, great idea, let's get this business started. So I'll be able to generate my own work permits and stuff and support myself there. So that's how I've got out there. Initially, I'm going out on my wife's work permit as a dependent, but my permit will be ready probably by the time I get there anyway. Okay. So that if you've got a business like this, that can work, and real estate out there is for, flat 30 million quid. It's mental.
Yeah. So it's a similar system to what a lot of the kind of more protective countries run, really. So there are some barriers to entry.
That really
to prevent, obviously, anybody coming in. The Australian system is quite strict. If you compare that to, say, like the Spanish system, it's less strict.
Well, the one thing with them, where they're so protective, there's 85,000 people in the island, roughly. I think about 65 of them are expats. And then the rest are born and bred, and that includes children from expats. But even if you're born there, you still don't get a passport. You're not guaranteed one. So they really look after it. And if you're there for 9 years, you have to leave the island for a year, because otherwise, if you're there for 9 years or more, you get voting rights. So they really protect who votes and who controls things on the island. They do look after themselves. But you don't see homeless people. You know, there are people who don't have money, but there's never anything as bad as you see over here. You know, people get helped and people look after you out there. It's quite an amazing community, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Like when you see there's so many expats, they're all there, they rally around you.
Yeah.
And we've got so many numbers from people we've had just met once, like a waitress we've met, give her a number. Should we still chatting now? Everyone is that
small community.
Yeah. Everyone knows each other's business. That's why you can't be you can't be a bad person because it will get round. So everyone's generally nice and there's none of that one up. Because some people you can't one up them. That's just too far.
Definitely, yeah. Well, it's a fascinating journey, Steve. Like I think, like obviously, I've known you, a fair number of years now, not just through networking, even previously before then to go through that. And I know there's been times where you've come and we've had chats and the rest of it about your kind of future prior to all of this. So yeah, what a mega journey that it's been over the last probably like 2 or 3 years.
It's phenomenal, yeah. So I'm just hoping, hoping it just carries on and I don't get too carried away with myself and, burning no bridges here. I want everyone to make it.
I think that's probably the important takeaway if we're looking like, this is a bit of a kind of, getting to know you and learning about this. But from a business point of view, you're right, not burning your bridges. As I say, making sure that you've got that nest egg. You can come back to the UK, you kind of got foots in both campuses. And just making sure that all those deals that you do with investors and that are looked over by your own independent lawyers. You do hear a lot of people getting a bit sort of screwed over in these arrangements, especially as like it's the business acumen is not your first calling in life. But yeah, I think what a mega journey really. And I love the art anyway. I like all that sort of stuff. So I don't know. I'm waiting for my free bit in the post or something. But
have to speak to my lawyer.
I'll just get one of those prints, I think. But yeah, no, what a really cool story, and obviously wish you all the best, Steve, and I hope it really excels and you don't forget all of us.
Thank you, mate. You have to come out and visit.
So how do people find out about you? How do they kind of buy your artwork or look at it, or can they see it in the gallery, or how? I mean, there's obviously buying it and then viewing it.
I mean, there's Instagram's the best place, really. That anything that I'm releasing and selling, go to my Instagram page, which is just put in Magpie Art UK. They'll come into this little logo here. So if you see that anywhere, that's me. Also, search Cloud Fine Art Gallery, which I say they're multi-chain. You can buy anything off them. But a lot of anything in the UK, buy through them because I'm going to be abroad and it's the logistics of it. They kind of run this side of the pond for me.
Okay.
Anything out there, US side, But you can.
How do they find you in the US? We do have some American viewers on.
Yeah, I mean, just go to Instagram. That's the best way. And message me through there. We can strike up a conversation and whatever you want, whether it's a commission, whether you want me to fly out and have a look at a place for you or whatever, we can work it out there. So Instagram is probably my best form of contact for me.
Instagram, Magpie Art, and then they'll be able to find you there.
Yeah, but Magpie Art UK, that's the full wing. But generally it will come up with Magpie Art.
Brilliant. Well, it's been super having you on the show. I'd love to see you in about a year's time, see where you're going. And of course, I'd love to just come out and see you rather than do
it. Mate, open invite. We've got spare rooms.
So that would be good. We'll take you up on that. We'll fly everyone out with all the cameras. Or I'll come with just an iPhone. But it's been really great having you on. And I hope the move goes really well and it's everything that you wanted it to be.
Yeah, thank you, man. Cheers. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So I hope that's been really useful for everybody. As you can see, Steve, fairly emotional journey from him from a young lad up to where he is. And he's done an awful lot of stuff from being in the army to running his own business to various other things. And now obviously, making a real success in the art business. Hopefully he's taken some key takeaways from that about kind of, it could all be turned off tomorrow and stop and to invest some money and actually make sure that he's checking those contracts as well. I'm sure there's lots of people that probably think that he might get a bit sort of done out of things. Artists generally, they get a bit squashed in this kind of world of the business where it meets art. But hopefully you can see from that, that's really useful information. Takeaways from there really is anybody that's going through that big journey from maybe, here to here in a very short period of time, managing that growth, expectations and so on. Wonderful journey for Steve there. We wish him all the best. Don't forget to go and follow him on all of his own socials, but also don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button down below. Give Steve a little bit of a comment, whatever you want to do. Share the channel, whatever. It will help Steve grow, and hopefully it's all a roaring success for him. And we'll see him in a year's time. I'd love to go out to the Cayman Islands. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? And this next podcast, we'll take this sign with us, stick it up somewhere on a palm tree. That would be pretty cool. Anyway, we'll see you in the next podcast.